Hello, you are watching the Post-Up Show. This is Cyrus, that is the main man, Kaunda, Chama, and we are going to be talking about all things All-Star in this week's episode. So the All-Star reserves have been named by the coaches from the East and the West, otherwise known as Team LeBron and Team Kevin Durant. I suppose we'll call you Team LeBron James, Kaunda, Chama. Let's get into this. So you've got Doc Rivers on the one side, you've got Quinn Snyder on the other side. They named their reserves. And this is a really interesting list of reserves. I know that there's peeps, and always at this time of the year, Snub City. Everybody is talking about Snub City. Who didn't get chosen? But we're not going to go there first. We're going to look at who was chosen. So, of the players that were picked by the two coaches, do you think it was a good mix of the kind of players that they'd expect to have?
I think, Cyrus, yes. Although I'm also like, I've got one foot in Snub City and then I've got the other foot in it was cool. There's only so much space on the bus, Cyrus. But if you ask me, all the players that were selected, they were selected based on merit. And I think they deserved positions on those teams because, who would you say isn't All-Star worthy when you look at that team?
Exactly. Well, here we go. Let's look at the reserves. So we've got the graphic right here. And the guys that were chosen, Anthony Davis, who's injured at the moment, Paul George, Rudy Gobert, Damian Lillard, Donovan Mitchell, Chris Paul, and Zion Williamson. That's all of the sort of West. And then the rest is Jaylen Brown, James Harden, Zach LaVine, Julius Randle, Ben Simmons, Jason Tatum, and Nikola Vucevic. Now, to your point, from that list, who doesn't deserve to be there? And I agree with you. I don't think there's anybody who I can outrightly say, man, I don't get this guy.
Well, there's only one, and I'll say this. I'll say this contentiously, but you will understand what I'm talking about. It is Anthony Davis, because he's not physically fit. That's the only person that actually shouldn't be there, right? That's why I said it will sound contentious, but it is what it is. I'm a big AD fan. I know you're a big AD fan since he's New Orleans days. He's the only person you can say, okay, maybe the vote should have gone to somebody else, but the voting started before his injury, came about. But if you look at those lists, Cyrus, I've gone back and forth. I know I have other players who I would say they also deserve the spot, but like I said, there's only enough space on that bus for so many players, Cyrus. Anthony Davis, Paul George, Cyrus, the Stifle Tower, Dame Time, all these guys, all of them, I'm sure they all have nicknames. That's how guys are.
Except for Zion.
Mitchell, CP3. Look, Zion is still young, he just arrived. I think he still has any stripes before we start issuing.
But we call him. We mainly just call him by his first name, so that's also one of those. That's his nickname, I guess.
Yes,
but
he's like
to your point, so that is hilarious. But to your point, though, yes, I think that when we look at the guys who have been named amongst the reserves, there are very few of them that I feel shouldn't actually be there on merit. Maybe because the Celtics haven't been firing the way they should do, people will question Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. But then when I look at them, they've both been playing at a fairly high level this season and are actually some of the reason why the Celtics have done anything of merit this season at all. Yes, Tatum has had his injury issues, the same with Brown. They've also had COVID compliance stuff that's happened at the Celtics. But when they've been on fire, they've been the guys. Now, yes, we're going to make the argument for some of the snubs later, but I think that when we look at that graphic, and I'll pull it up again, you look at these guys and you think, okay, there are first-timers here. There are guys like Julius Randle who's never been an All-Star before, and that's incredible. There's guys like Zach LaVine who've never been an All-Star before. That's also fantastic. But and Zion Williamson. But for the other guys, there are also those who've been here multiple times, and you could say maybe they should have actually sat out this one. Somebody like Chris Paul, who people have said, well, does he really deserve to be there over somebody like Devin Booker? I know we said we won't deal with snubs just yet, but somebody like Chris Paul could potentially be the guy to miss out on that. Do you think that when we look at that list of reserves, there's also a bit of a bias towards, like those older guys. When you look at somebody like CP3 or even Paul George for that matter, who's a multiple All-Star, sometimes their reputation gets them in ahead of all of their performances.
Look, Cyrus. First of all, if you look at one, let's take back to Chris Paul.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a big Devin Booker fan. I think in terms of the current shooting guards in the league at the moment, and the shooting guards that have been in the league before him, I mean, greats such as Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, those have been shooting guards. Allen Iverson, those have been shooting guards. This youngster, Cyrus, he plays. Let's not go to Jordan and Kobe level just yet, but he plays at a very high level. He does. He's a pure scorer. Maybe he could do with a little bit of publicity stunts, maybe like Joel Embiid. I don't know, but I was shocked. But if you look at CP3, right, Chris Paul, that's a all-star. He's been around, and everywhere he's gone, takeaway may be Houston, but everywhere where he's gone, he's had big impact, Cyrus. He started off in New Orleans, not in New Orleans, in the old Charlotte Hornets. He was old Charlotte Hornets. Then you know what he did at the Clippers. I know they never really won. Well, they never actually won.
They didn't do anything.
They always used to sort of flame out of the first round of the playoffs. But still, he was an impact player, and he still is. When he went to Houston, things were a bit dodgy. But when he went to OKC, you saw the return of the CP3, and now he's doing the same at the Suns. So, I mean, he's performing, Cyrus, and you can't ignore him. And without a Chris Paul as that veteran leader, and I know I have really hyped up one Devin Booker, but without Chris Paul as that veteran leader at the Suns, I don't think
you don't have the Suns where they are. Yeah, I get you. And maybe I'm playing devil's advocate here, but I do think that it's important for us to also understand. I mean, I'm a big fan of Chris Paul's work. What he's doing right now is incredible. And this has been what the Suns have needed. Somebody to really, show their veteran leadership, get these guys firing in the right direction. And also with the coaching staff that they have, that's really good. I do think, though, that somebody who's like had tens of all-stars could afford to be like, maybe I'm not an all-star this season. But then to borrow from the book of LeBron, you got to get your kudos, man, because regardless of how many MVPs LeBron's won already, he always wants the next one. Now, we've brought up the king. Let's look at the captains here. Look at the teams that could potentially be formed. I mean, look at the starters, right? You've got Giannis, Bradley Beal, Stephen Curry, Luka Doncic, Joel Embiid, Kyrie Irving, Nikola Jokic, Kawhi Leonard. All of these guys are starters. Those guys, it all spoke for themselves. I don't think there's anybody from that list that will say, nah, they don't deserve to be there. So if you were, and you know how I like to play these games, man, because if you were LeBron and you have to pick from these starters, who would your sort of starting pool be? Like, who would you pick? So let's say you're LeBron, you've got the most votes, you get a pick first. Who's the player you pick first out of this list?
Stephen Curry, without a doubt, Cyrus. I need some firepower.
Okay, so for you, Steph is that guy. Steph goes number one for you on Team LeBron.
Steph goes number one for me on Team LeBron. So if you're Team KD and I just took Steph, who would you take?
Well, that's an interesting one, dude, because, I mean, this is also what makes this so much fun, is that when we look at the details, here we go, do we go guard for guard? And maybe I go with my teammate because I'm Kevin Durant and I say Kyrie Irving, And then you think, okay, I mean, Kyrie did hit a shot in Steph's face to win a championship. It hurt me as a Warriors fan, but the man did the business. So, yeah, I think that's what I do. Okay, so that's one.
I became LeBron for a minute, and with the kind of disrespect Kyrie has been throwing in his direction, I would not even select him second, third, fourth, fifth, or sixth. I would leave him out of my team. You know when he hit him with that, is that your best free throw shooter?
Yeah, oh my word!
Okay, you're not getting selected.
Having said that, we have seen the bricks that LeBron has been throwing. They've been horrible. The guy's building Empire State buildings. So I'm gonna give you one. In fact, I don't know if we should actually go through the entire listing, but if you're gonna pick second, who do you pick?
Well, look, because my main man AD is out of action, I'd have to go to Joker City and get myself Nikola Jokic, just for that, in the paint presence.
Ooh, Nikola Jokic. What a selection. That obviously means if we're going center for center, I've got to go East Coast and I've got to pick Joel Embiid. So you look at it and you say, okay, man, I mean, this is shaping up to be one heck of a team. So you've got LeBron, you've got Steph, you've got Jokic, I've got KD, I've got Kyrie, and I've got Embiid. Right, I guess we've got a couple more picks. Who's next on your list?
Next on my list, I gotta go back to the backcourt and get myself a youngster who's performing very well. Bradley Beal, how you doing?
Bradley Beal. So Steph Curry, Bradley Beal. Steph Curry, Bradley Beal. Jokic,
I got my 1, I got
and
my
LeBron.
2, I got my 3, and I got my 5. All I need is a good 4.
I think that, I might play a little bit of chess here with you, because there's a player who should never be getting picked last. And how do I actually keep this pick and remain? Oh man, it just seems ridiculous because I got to pick between Giannis and Kawhi. So
whichever one you pick, I'm getting the other one.
Look at this: Giannis, Kawhi, or Luka. Okay, so you picked Beal. I'm gonna go. Goodness gracious me! Wow, I didn't realize this was gonna be so tough. I'm gonna say Doncic. Just because we're doing like a type for type. I mean, geesh.
Cyrus, I've just taken Giannis, and it's a wrap. I've just taken Giannis, and it's a wrap.
I know. That leaves me with Kawhi. I mean, I don't understand how anybody can be left with Kawhi Leonard. But anyway, so yeah, the starters. So to recap, right? You've got LeBron, Steph, Bradley Beal, Giannis, and Nikola Jokic.
And I just won AllStar.
I don't know about that. KD, Kyrie, Doncic, Embiid, and oh gosh, who have I left out here? Did I say Kawhi?
Kawhi.
Yeah. So KD. Kawhi. Yeah, Kawhi. That's, I mean, sheesh, KD, Kyrie, Kawhi, Doncic, and Embiid is a heck of a team.
You're lacking a bit of size there. I mean, I'll give you KD and
KD
and Embiid.
KD and Embiid.
That's two big guys. But
isn't that enough?
I can send Giannis to Embiid, and I can send Jokic to KD. Well, or the other way around.
Well,
rather.
actually, it could be Giannis and KD. I mean, that's a great matchup. And then you're looking at Jokic and Embiid. That's a great matchup. Then you got Kawhi versus LeBron, another great matchup. And then when we're looking at the guards, Kyrie versus Steph and Beal versus Doncic. I mean, I don't really see a clear winner here.
I hope those are the people that are selected.
It would be great.
That'd be a great game. That'd be a great game.
It really would be. It really would be. But let's go on to and this is what I love about this, right? I'm not going to say let's select from the entire pool, but I've got the first pick of the second round of players, and that actually could be a far bigger deal compared to what we've just discussed now, because in essence, having the first pick in the second round means that I could pick James Harden, make it an all Nets affair, and then the shooting is going to be off the charts. So with that in mind, who do you select?
So you've got James Harden.
Yeah. Do you need to see the graphic?
I need to see the graphic, because if you take James Harden, then I'm going to have to go with Dame time. Because, we're playing logos here. Steph Curry, Dame Lillard, and sometimes LeBron. We're playing from the logo here. It's AllStar, baby.
I love it. That's where we're going to leave it in terms of selections. Let's go to the one thing that we need to talk about. We've spoken about the guys who we would pick in our teams. We've spoken about the guys who've been selected. Let's talk about the guys who didn't make it. This is your AllStar snubs, and this is a rogues gallery of some of the best talent in the NBA. It's really tough. Yeah.
Where's Jamal Murray?
Jamal Murray has not even, I don't even know if we're going to be looking at him saying he was really snubbed, compared to
Wow.
some of the other guys there, because Murray's stats haven't necessarily been great this season, nor have the performances been. When you look at the guys who have actually been listed here, you can see why some people are even saying that, you know, they've been snubbed. Somebody like DeMar DeRozan has definitely been balling, whereas Murray, by his own admission, will tell you, look, he just hasn't really been at that level yet.
Okay.
So
Look, Cyrus,
from this, who do you think is the most snubbed? Like, I think you look at this and you say that this guy should have definitely been there.
I think stats-wise, for me, Domantas Sabonis sticks out. I mean, his stats have been looking really well this season, Cyrus, and he's really performing for Indiana. And I think, if you ask me, like, the person that jumps out there, I would have gone with Bam Adebayo because, first of all, big Bam fan, African connection. But if I'm keeping it all the way real, it's the
Sabonis. Okay, I mean, that's a great pick in terms of somebody who should definitely have been there. I'm actually looking at this and I'm thinking, there's a lot of guys here who could have been all-stars. And one that should have been an all-star is potentially, for me, Trae Young. I think his numbers have been really good individually. The Hawks have been horrible as a team. They just haven't been able to find the right mix going forward, and that's why they're sort of languishing. But they could potentially pick it up. But I think that Trae Young is the one that is really unlucky to miss out. But then having said that, when I look at the other guys who've been picked, I don't really see any space for him in the roster at all. But there's also the opportunity for, you know, things to happen to people. You never know what's going to happen at All-Star. So we're going to leave it at that, Kaunda. Thank you so much, my brother. This has been another amazing episode, and the All-Star edition always brings out the worst in you. But let's hope that at least we get the kind of teams that we picked. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Make sure you keep watching the Post-Up Show. We'll be producing them, posting them up for you. So make sure you keep watching, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and tell your friends about us. This has been the Post-Up Show. And we're going to catch you on the NBA All-Star Game flip side. Till then, peace.